What's up, YouTube? I'm here to do my prediction video for UFC 215. Let's start at the bottom. The first fight is Cage and Johnson versus Adriano Martinez. And to me, these two guys are similar. They're both striker jiu-jitsu guys, but to me, Adriano Martinez is the more powerful guy overall. I think he's got more knockout power. I think he's the better grappler overall, too. I think that he's just the better fighter overall, and I think he's going to win by knockout or submission. I think that, like I said, I think skill-wise and power-wise, he's just way better. And sooner or later, he's going to win by knockout, most likely. Next is Luis Henrique versus Adrian Buller. And Adrian was this really good Olympic wrestler. He's 6-0 right now, and I think he's going to win this fight just because I think his wrestling... Both these guys are wrestlers, but I think his wrestling background is clearly much stronger. Like I said, he was in the Olympics, and I think he went to Worlds for wrestling, and I just think he's a very strong wrestler going up against a guy who's also a strong wrestler but not at the same level. So I think Buller is going to win by TKO, maybe decision. Next we got Mitch Clark versus Alex White. And this is basically striker versus grappler. It's just whoever can get the fight where they want it to be. And this is really tough because I feel like Alex White has looked really good recently. And Mitch Clark has dropped his last couple. I feel like Mitch Clark should be the favorite and might get this one, but I'm going to go with Alex White. I think he should be able to keep this fight standing, win a decision. This fight is really close in my head. I feel like this really is just whoever can keep it where it's going to win. But I'm going to go with Alex White. I think his conditioning is better, and I think he should be able to keep it on the feet and eventually win by decision or TKO. Next is Gavin Tucker versus Rick Glenn. And to me, Rick Glenn, we already saw in his UFC debut, you know, he's not the greatest grappler ever. He's a decent striker with really good technique, but he doesn't have a lot of power. I feel like Gavin Tucker is the better striker and grappler overall. I think he should be able to keep it even on the feet and then hit takedowns whenever he wants. And I think sooner or later he might get a submission on the ground. So I'm going to go with Gavin Tucker to win by submission. Next is Sarah Morse versus Ashley Smith. And to me, Ashley Smith is the much better wrestler overall. And Sarah Morse is really good, but she's primarily like a jiu-jitsu type of grappler. I think Ashley Smith is just going to be able to hit the takedowns and be on top for the most of the grappling exchanges, and she's probably just going to get a decision. Next is Henry Cejudo versus Wilson Hayes, and to me, Wilson Hayes, you know, he's good, but I don't think he has the wrestling to compete with Henry Cejudo. I think Henry Cejudo is the much better wrestler overall. I think striking-wise, they're probably about even, but I think Cejudo is going to have a speed advantage and probably a power advantage too because, you know, as good as Wilson Hayes is striking-wise, he doesn't have any knockouts on his record. I just think Cejudo's the better athlete overall, and I don't think Wilson Hayes is going to be able to take him down. I think Cejudo is going to be able to control this fight and just win a pretty lopsided 30-27 decision. Next is Sarah McMahon versus Ketlen Vieira, and this is another just like heavy wrestling favorite. Or I think Sarah McMahon is just so much stronger than Ketlen is wrestling wise. I think she'll be able to hit the takedowns whenever she wants, and she's just going to control her the whole 3 rounds and win a boring 30-27 decision for Sarah McMahon. Next we got Jeremy Stephens versus Gilbert Melendez, and this fight has the potential to be fight of the night. It all depends on how Gilbert Melendez looks when he makes that cut to 45. It's hard to tell because Gilbert Melendez, to me, it's not like I never thought he could make this weight because he's not super muscular. He's kind of not fat but pudgy a little bit, so I felt like it's always been one of those things where if he just leaned out, he probably could make this weight. So it depends on what he looks like. If he looks like how Jeremy Stephens looks, he could win this fight because I feel like they have a very similar style. Jeremy Stephens just has more power, but Gilbert's better at hitting takedowns to rack up points throughout a fight. Like I said, it's hard to pick Gilbert just because I've never seen him fight at this weight, and he might not be able to make the weight and look good, and we don't know what his chin is going to look like either, because a lot of times when guys cut that weight, they lose a little bit of durability. So I just have to go with Jeremy Stephens because they have a similar style, but he has more power, and he's, you know, been fighting at this weight for a while and beating really good people at this weight. So I'm going to pick Jeremy Stephens. I say he wins a 29-28 decision. Next is Ilir Latifi versus Tyson Pedro, and to me, Tyson Pedro's looked good so far, but the fact is both of those fights he was able to turn them into grappling matches where he was on top. You know, he's primarily a jiu-jitsu guy with good top game grappling and good takedown defense, but I haven't seen much in the way of striking from him, and I haven't seen much of his jiu-jitsu game off of his back. I feel like he's not going to be able to take Ilir Latifi down because no one has, and his wrestling is nowhere near the level of Ilir Latifi's. Like I said, striking-wise, I haven't really seen anything from him striking-wise. To be fair, that's because the first fight he had, he got knocked down, and in the second fight, the other guys was trying to take him down consistently, and he was just able to stuff it nonstop until he knocked him out. But it's hard for me to go into Ilir Latifi in this fight because I feel like he's just going to take this guy down whenever he wants and beat the crap out of him, is how I see this fight going. Because I haven't seen Tyson Pedro fight off his back. I don't know how good his jiu-jitsu is there, so I'm going to go with Ilir Latifi. I say he wins by TKO from ground and pound. Next is Neil Magny versus Rafael dos Anjos. And to me, Neil Magny is one of these guys where he's good everywhere. Like, he has good jiu-jitsu off his back, he has good wrestling and takedowns, and he has good striking. But none of those things are great. And what I mean by that is, like, you look at the fight he had with Lorenz Larkin. Lorenz Larkin's a great striker. And Lorenz Larkin was able to keep into a striking match, and he was able to beat the crap out of him. And then you look at the fight with Damian Maia. And I know Damian Maia is one of the best jiu-jitsu guys ever, so that's a little unfair. But at the exact same time, it's like, look at it. Damian Maia was able to get that fight to the ground consistently and submit him. And it's because his grappling game isn't amazing. It's good, but it's not amazing. And I feel like that's his problem. Is as good as Neil Magny is, he's not great anywhere. And that's why people keep calling him out, because he's ranked really high, because he'll beat somebody really good every once in a while. But it's like, you can see where you can beat him. Like, RDA has better grappling. So I also think he's better wrestling. I think that he's going to be able to take this fight to the ground whenever he wants. And I think it's going to be a lot like the Damian Maia fight, where he's just on top of him, and eventually he's going to submit him with like a rear naked choke, or he's just going to get a unanimous decision. And this is how I see this fight playing out. I think RDA is the better grappler, and he's going to be able to take this fight down whenever he wants to, or at least keep it against the fence and hit those inside trips. And I think RDA is going to win by submission and decision. Next, we've got Amanda Nunes versus Valentina Shevchenko. And to me, this fight is, like I said the last time, I feel like Amanda Nunes has two really good rounds in her. She's a lot like Anthony Johnson, and if she can't finish you in that time, she gasses really hard. And I feel like this fight's going to be exactly like the first fight, except for those 2 extra rounds. You know, people were getting mad at her for calling out in that last fight because she was sick. But to be fair, if you feel like you're going to lose a fight to someone you know you're probably going to lose to in general, I would call out sick too. I don't think she's afraid because she's already beaten her once. I just think that, you know, it's smart. You've already, you know, just barely beaten this person. You want to fight her at 100% the next time you fight her. So, like I said, I think Amanda Nunes is going to win the first 2 rounds, but I think Shevchenko is going to start to win in the 3rd, and I think she's going to finish her in the 4th. So I got Valentina by 4th round finish. Next, we've got Demetrius Johnson versus Ray Borg, and this fight is honestly the stupidest thing I've ever seen. It's obvious Demetrius doesn't want to fight any of those, you know, like the Dominic Cruz already beat Demetrius Johnson's ass once, and I feel like it's kind of like the Daniel Cormier situation, where the reason why I feel like people don't respect Demetrius Johnson is because the same, like I said, you know, Daniel Cormier's lost twice to Jon Jones, so no matter what he does, people are always going to look at him as second best. The reason why people look at the flyweight division like that is because Dominic Cruz has already beaten Demetrius Johnson one time super lopsidedly, and he beat Benavidez twice lopsidedly. Not as lopsidedly, but still, you know, he beat him twice. So it's like the 2 best guys in that weight classes are guys who got their asses kicked by Dominic. So, you know what I mean? And then when TJ Dillashaw, the guy who gave Dominic, him and Cody have obviously given Dominic his best fight in years, says he wants to fight Demetrius, and Demetrius Johnson says he doesn't want to fight him. You know what I mean? He doesn't, you know, give off that personification of a champion, because he doesn't want to fight the best guy he can fight. He wants to fight Ray Borg. And to me, Ray Borg has one way of winning this fight, is if he takes Demetrius' back. He's really good at that, but I don't see that happening. And even if he does do that, there's no guarantee he's going to get that rear naked choke. I don't think he will be able to take, even if he does take Demetrius down, I don't think he'll be able to hold him down is the problem. And I don't think he's going to be able to take his back. And like I said, that's the only way I see him winning this fight, because I don't see him continuously taking him down and holding him down. And I think Demetrius is eventually going to wear him out and eventually win by decision or get a submission in the later rounds. So anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Please like and subscribe.